Sunday Struggle Podcast. The Sunday Struggle Podcast. The Sunday Struggle Podcast. Say here. Whoa.
All right.
Welcome back to the Sunday Struggle. It's been a minute for us,
Yes.
at least. For y'all, it's like a week, but for us, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. Welcome to the Sunday Struggle Podcast.
Welcome.
Another episode with Jeremy and Kennedy. I think that's the first time we ever told them our names, except for the first episode.
Yeah.
They watch in the middle, like, who are these people I'm watching? Yeah. Today's episode is a Formula One recap. If you don't know, we're into Formula One. Woo. I know. And the season has just started earlier this month. So we're going to do a quick rundown. We're going to do some bingo cards, say what we're expecting from the season, how we feel about the first 2 races, who we think is going to be a good driver, and we're capping it at 20 minutes, 30 max. We're not doing long episodes because we get carried away with this.
Also.
That's also. We sound crappy. It's because we feel crappy.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start? First race was Bahrain.
Bahrain, yeah. I didn't really watch it. I just watched the highlights. I can't even honestly remember it. I just know Max won. Yay.
Me either.
Danny's not doing too good.
Hot take.
What?
I think they should have gave Liam Lawson the seat instead of Daniel Ricciardo.
Honestly, I'm low-key thinking they should take Yuki out and put Liam in and have the 2 Aussie drivers.
Why when Yuki's doing better than Danny?
I just think it would be funny. Here's the thing. I'll tell you this. The way I look at F1 is partly because of memes. It's not really fully like who's the best. I mean, Yuki is doing way better than Danny right now.
He is.
Which is kind of
we're 2
making
races
me
in,
slightly sad because I love Daniel Ricciardo, but
Yeah, the honey badger.
I also love Yuki. So, I mean, you love Yuki?
I don't love Yuki. He's not on my top tier
You were like
list.
shitting on him last time we talked about F1. I remember listening to it.
Because Yuki's like a little baby, but like he is not in a decent car, but he also is better than his counterpart. Like he's better than Danny. And this season he's done pretty well. Like,
was he in the points? No, I don't think he's been in the points this season.
no,
so
last season, or not last season, in the second race in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if he was in the points, but I do know he was upset because they made
Danny.
switched him, which I would have, if it was me, myself, and I would have told him, fuck no.
Well, that's what he kind of said, but
Which
then
is
he
what,
just did
but
it.
I also wouldn't have done it.
But like it doesn't make sense.
Right. Why would
13, 14, I remember
Why would
that.
you have Danny pass Yuki to get to Kevin Magnussen, who was doing the penalty? He was trying to make a bigger gap for Grosjean, or not Grosjean. Love that man. For Hulkenberg, so they could get in the points possibly. And shout out to Kevin Mag for that, because you did pretty good. Although, not shout out to you for bumping into Yuki and getting 10-second penalties, 20-second penalties in the first place.
That was crazy. Like, they gave him way too much of a penalty, in my opinion.
I mean, he caused an accident. I think they're trying to be more strict on their penalties this year.
Probably, yeah.
So.
Because of Max. No, I'm kidding.
Probably because of Lewis.
Oh, Lewis, yeah.
Because you know they hate him. You know the FIA hates him.
They're like, he's not white. And
yeah,
he's not
and they love Red Bull, so you know they're biased.
He's
fine.
black. We have to get him out of here.
So
but I don't know. I mean,
didn't like that.
But I'll say this: like, Lewis is not driving the best.
He's not.
Like, he's not.
But I also think his car is probably shit.
Yeah, but I mean, George is being pretty competitive. I don't like George that much as a person.
I don't like George on the track. I haven't heard much from him yet, though.
But I mean, he's not been doing bad. Like, he's been staying like top 5, at least from what I think I was seeing.
Yeah, because I think Lewis was 9th.
Yeah, Lewis has been like barely in the points.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'm not saying that he's a bad driver, but it's like, you know, you look at George, who's like consistently fighting within the top 5, is like.
But it also could be his car.
It could be, but I mean,
I wonder, like, if your car, like, I wonder if they ever get their cars switched up. Because, like, what if George was to fuck up his car and they switch and their cars are not the correct cars they've been in? Because they have to put the cars together. So, like, you could remove the front wing, and it be a complete, and your number be different. and it say 44 and it actually is Russell's car. Not that I think that's it. I just think their car is shit. I think their Lewis is not doing also very well, also because it's like his last season, so he's kind of like in the point where like I think he's
Just
still
riding the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause
Although I think he still does want to win and he wants to still be competitive, but I think there's a lot of stuff Mercedes has to do to fix their car.
Yeah, he probably just realizes like, hey, I'm not gonna win in this car.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, I'm gonna get points.
So I don't think Mercedes changed much to their car, right? I think they did, but they didn't do enough for it to be like.
Yeah, for
like
it
I
to
think,
really affect
right.
it.
I think they're still waiting to like. It's like McLaren last season. Like McLaren wasn't doing really well in the last season, and basically told the boys, both boys, like, hey,
yeah, you're not gonna win.
yeah, your car is shit until the middle of the season. Like, try to do your best with the car that you have, but it's not gonna be good until the middle of the season. And
That's
in the
like,
middle of the season, those McLaren boys started to do real well,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
saw that they did real well because they got their car together. But it wasn't until mid-season that they were really good.
Yeah, it's
So.
unfortunate. Like, I don't know how I would feel if like I'm on a team and then they're just gonna say, hey, by the way,
Your car is
your
shit.
car is gonna be shit for a while. Like,
yeah.
but I mean that's what Toto told Lewis. Like,
Oh, really?
like he was like, you know, everything in F1 like it's slow. Like the cars are gonna slowly change. Like I can't
Mhm.
promise you, even within next season or the season after, that we're gonna have a competitive car. Like I think he said something like that
That's
because
terrible.
I watched the season 6 of Drive to Survive.
I hadn't finished watching that.
Okay, so there's like a whole like section.
But you can say it. It's not going to
Yeah.
bother me.
There's a
I
whole
saw season
section
6.
where Lewis is talking to Toto before he's making his decision to like if he's gonna go to Ferrari or not.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was just like, well, you know, he you know, Toto's pretty honest. Like he's like, we don't have a competitive car. I don't think we're gonna have a competitive car next year or
Yeah,
maybe
so
even later. So you
yeah.
know,
How do you, as a driver, how do you not be mad and be like, well, this is a waste of my time?
yeah. But also Lewis doesn't get listened to.
He does
like
not.
that's like one of the issues. Like he's like
yeah.
he talks about that a lot. Like he'll like talk to them about
yeah.
something and then it'll be until it fucks up for them to be like, oh, okay, we'll change it.
I think
now.
I saw that in Drive to Survive where he basically told him like a suggestion and they said, yeah, no, you're wrong. Right?
Yeah, that's like
And then they didn't do it and it didn't work. And then they did do it and it worked for the car. And he was like, yeah, see, I guess I was right.
it's like dude has been driving in these cars for
He's first of all, I didn't know that, but he's been driving with Mercedes for I think 13 years.
yeah.
It's a
So
long
like
time.
when you have that decorated of a driver, also a 7-time world champion, you probably
8 to
should
some.
yeah. You probably should listen to him.
Right.
Like you probably
he might
should
know a thing or two.
like if Max Verstappen said some shit about a car,
They're
they're going to
like-
listen. So it's like, why are you not someone who's actually competitive and actually a good driver? Like, why would you not listen to him? I mean, I don't know. It's politics, and, you know,
Yeah.
he also is the only African-American driver on the grid, and
He
there's a
is.
lot of stuff that goes into that.
yes.
A lot of Europeans are low-key racist. You know, I'll just say
Did you
that.
see a long time ago? Was it last year? Of like the blackface that they had in the crowd at one of the races?
No.
Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, I think Lewis goes through a lot just because of his skin color and because of his race. But I also think that also goes into the FIA and just how they make an example out of him. Like last year when he crashed and walked across the track during the race.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was a 50,000 euro fine, right? Keep in mind, someone else did it at practice, right?
Mhm.
Same thing, the same concept, right? Didn't even get that big of a fine, right? There's times where, like, they just give him penalties or they give him fines that are not reasonable just because of who he is, and I don't think that's fair. Because, like, for instance, in the Las Vegas race, Max pushed Leclerc out and almost crashed, or it was something like that, and Leclerc ended up getting the penalty. And even the commentators were like, that should have been a penalty
yeah,
for Max.
I think I saw that.
And I was like, why would you? Or even when Max has a penalty, it's like not a big one, and you can see the favoritism, and it's kind of like, why do you pick on him and not on the other? And you can show your favoritism, and especially in a sport, you need to, if you're gonna be the head people who decide what goes through and what gets not, you need to be kind of unbiased so that you're not favoring, like, you know, the reason why Lewis isn't an 8th world champion is because the FIA decided for the views they're gonna fuck it up and they're gonna change what they've done for years, right? For one race, and they keep in mind they never went back to that. They did it one time, I think, and it hasn't been the same. And so it's like, why would you do that? Like, these are people's lives at stake. You're ruining. Like, they deserve better than that. Like, Lewis deserved better in 2021 when it was supposed to be his 8th world champion, because they did it for the views, for the excitement, right? I mean, it was exciting either way. It was neck and neck. It wouldn't matter, right?
It's just politics.
It is politics. Like, it just is like, I don't know. We all know Max is going to be the top. And, you know, I think people don't watch Formula One. If Max is number 1, we skip it. We don't give a shit. Like, we're worried about, like, midfield. Like, we're worried about people fighting for 10th place, 11th place, 13th place. Or people fighting for, like, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, you know? We're not really watching Max, which is fine. Like, Max can be top tier. But I wish that they had switched. And I really wanted Charles to not continue at Ferrari. I wanted him to go to Red Bull. But it's whatever. But a lot of people's contracts are up this year. So there could be, you know, except for Charles, and obviously we know where Lewis is going, and we know the McLaren boys are still there.
Yeah.
I know Daniel, I think, keeps his until 2025, 2026, something like that. So
I just want Liam, dude. I really like Liam.
That's what I think. Liam did so well for a rookie replacing Daniel. I don't think Daniel deserved that spot anymore. I thought they should have said, you know what, Daniel? Unfortunately, Liam has performed pretty well. I think he deserves your spot. Like, I would not have put Daniel Ricciardo back in the AlphaTauri, but you know he's got a lot of pull with Red Bull.
Yeah.
So that could have also been it.
I feel bad for Liam.
I do too.
Because he did so well, and then they're just like,
see you later.
Throw you away. I mean, the thing is, like, after Danny's, like, you know, wrist and everything, like, I don't think he's ever going to be the same of a driver. Because shit like that actually permanently fucks up your ability to drive.
Well, I don't know, because Lance Stroll had double wrist surgery and toe surgery, and he's pretty good. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah, Lance is... People hate on him, but
I hate on Lance.
He's a pretty good
Although
fucking
he's Canadian,
driver.
so I shouldn't hate on Lance. We should be fair.
I mean, he's a billionaire's kid. It's easy to just look at him and be like, you fucking bitch. Like, the only reason why you're here is because your dad.
Which is true.
It's true, but also he's kept his pace. Like, he's not a bad driver, and, like, constantly outperforms Fernando.
No, he doesn't. Fernando definitely outperforms him. But they also are really close, and they're in the top mid. Yeah, Lance does not do, I don't know his place in the, I think he was out actually in Saudi Arabia. I think he crashed.
Oh shit. Yeah, he did crash.
So, but I think before that he placed fairly decent. Like, he was, I think, within the points maybe. Him and Alonso.
Yeah, I think he's a good driver.
Right, I think their car is pretty good. Like, their car is doing real well.
I think it's slowly getting up there. Like, I think they could be competitive within the next, like, year or two.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
They're scared. You can tell the other companies are like, oh, fuck, another competitor.
Well, also keep in mind, like, when you have Fernando Alonso, who's been in the game for God knows how long, since, like, maybe before even Lewis was, like, since Lewis was a kid, you're, like, kind of, you know, enough for, like, when you're racing with Max Schumacher, Mike. There you go. No.
Is it Michael Schumacher?
Yeah, Mike Schumacher. Yeah. So when you're racing with him, you know, when you're racing with top tier people like Senna and stuff like that, Vettel, before he retired that sweet man, you're like, this man knows how to get around a car. Like, he's like an old Max Verstappen, like old timer Max Verstappen. You know, he can, like, when you see him, like Fernando, like when he was in Saudi Arabia, I think he was just cruising. He was like, nah. He didn't even fight people for overtakes. He was like, you want to overtake me? Cool. I'm living my best life over here. Like, he just was not. He just didn't care. And then there are some times where he was racing Perez, where they had like that toe to toe, and he overtook him right before the finish line. That's the champion. That's Fernando for you.
I like Alonso.
Yeah,
I think
he's competitive, and so I like when we have a competitive front. I don't remember who was 1, 2, and 3 in the race in Saudi Arabia, or even in Bahrain.
The most recent.
I know it was Max and
Sergio. It's been 1, 2 for both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Charles was third for this recent race. I'm pretty sure.
So that's not bad.
And then I think George was fourth, and then Sainz was
No,
fifth.
Sainz is out for appendectomy.
Was out. So it was he was like sixth.
Oliver?
Yeah, 6th or 7th. He actually did really well.
Okay, no.
What?
I have a hot take for that too. I do not think Oliver deserves the praise because he did not do anything. He didn't do a thing. He passed one person and then held his place for the rest of the race. That is not doing great for your first race as a rookie.
But he's a kid and he got thrown into it. Liam fought a bit more, but he still did pretty much the same thing. Like Liam was like at the same kind of place. He got up. I think he got some points.
Mm-hmm.
He passed like 2.
Yeah, but I think we put everyone was like, oh my God, he did such great for his first rookie race. No, I think he did great as in the point system, but I think that was just because we had a safety car and 2 people were out.
But also he is in
you
the
were
Ferrari.
in the middle, right? But you were also in the middle of the field where the gap between you and anybody else was super big. So you could he's basically like him. He's racing his own race. He's racing by himself at this point because there's no one fairly in front of him and no one behind him.
I understand what you mean. Like,
so I would see if he races, let's say Sainz is still out, and let's give him a couple chances before I'm like, yeah, he deserves a good hoorah for his rookie season.
The way I look at it is if you're a kid that young being thrown into that and it's like your first time.
The day before too, you're like, shit.
Yeah, it's like your first time driving that shit because most of the time it is their first time.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to keep up with people, that's
fair. Yeah.
I'll give it to him. I'm not going to say he's like, oh my God, Max Verstappen. No. But it's like him and I would say Liam is a bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to say who's a better driver, probably Liam because he showed more initiative. He was fighting more I don't know. I think, yeah, I think he did good. I think definitely I want to see Liam.
I want him back so bad.
I like Yuki. I just think the thing with Yuki is he's improved, but so slowly. He's slowly gotten
better,
more cooperative, but he's still a kid. He's still
he's
Yuki. He's still tiny little boy.
But he's doing better than Alpine. The
Oh my God! Don't get me started on fucking Alpine, dude. I'm so annoyed with my Frenchmen, dude.
It's 2 Frenchmen on a French team. They're just not.
That's why they're doing bad.
They're not representing really
it's
well.
French people.
Well, also keep in mind that Ocon and Gasly, they have years teenage years.
They got beef
For teenage since you were a baby.
Each other.
Since you were little children. You have beef for that long over someone passing you in a race?
Because they're both arrogant.
I don't understand.
They're both arrogant.
It's crazy.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Frenchmen have just pride. There's a pride.
It's that's the problem.
That's the thing with both of them is they both have that oh, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. Whatever. Yeah. And it's this, it's like brothers, they act like brothers,
mm-hmm.
They're actually brothers, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also they have the new guy who just stepped in, right? The fucking super French guy. They had him because it was what's his name?
Who?
Otmar.
Yeah.
They had Otmar, and then he got kicked out because they were doing shit.
I know now they have a new.
Now they have the French guy. That dude is fucking
it's
French.
really an all French.
So yeah, so it's either that could go really well or it could go very badly.
But I think that I do remember that, and I remember seeing it's not going well. I feel that's also petty and stupid because same thing with Max and Charles also raced as kids, right? And you see that
incident.
Yeah, it's just a little incident. You know what I'm saying? But you see that they're competitive together, but they are still cool off camera. You know what I'm saying? They still race. And I will say, as much as I'm a Max hater sometimes, I respect Max for the way he races. I also think he's gotten better. as like a person, like how as he comes off. Because
Yeah.
I feel like when we first saw him, he just is, you know, like
kind of cold.
yeah, like even now, like if someone crashes, he doesn't really ask if they're okay. Like you always hear everybody else ask like, are they okay? And Max is just like doesn't give a shit. But like you see his personality off the track, which is great. And you also see he's not as aggressive, just also because he doesn't really have to be.
Yeah.
But now he falls, like, even if he isn't in first, he still kind of just waits his time, bides his time, and just kind of
Does a clean overtake.
yeah.
And
he's
back
no
in
longer, which
first,
I
yeah.
like. And I think, I mean, I can't fault him for being number one if you're in a really good car and you're like, you can make
He's
like
an amazing driver
Yeah,
and
that
an
too.
amazing car.
Yeah,
like that's it's like
you can't beat that.
can't really beat that.
You
no.
can't.
And that's why you see also Sergio is second.
Yeah.
Like I mean like
Which we
Checo
would not
and
expect.
Checo is not even like I wouldn't even put him that high on the grid. Like if I was going to put top drivers right now,
Not.
I wouldn't
Sergio.
even put Sergio up there.
I wouldn't. It would
like
be
top 3.
Yeah. It
Max
would be
1,
yeah.
Charles 2, and then like
Third would either be probably one of the McLaren boys.
I would put like maybe Lando or I mean even Sainz is good. He's good. Like that's the he's good. He's
I
not
don't know.
as good, but he's still good.
I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of Sainz, but I feel like when it comes down to the Ferraris, they do not take care of their drivers. Like Sainz is always like they always put Charles under the bus. Like Charles is always the backup girly, even though he starts in the race. I don't know why they
Yeah.
do it. Like his car either fucks up or something happens, and you know, and it ends up being, and let them do that to Carlos one time, and he becomes
Gets so pissed.
He does, and it ends up being like, oh well, I'm the victim. But let Charles be thrown under the bus, and he was like, yeah, it was a team effort, it was a team decision, you know, for the team. Very team oriented, right? When he gave up his position the last race so that the Mercedes wouldn't beat them in the drivers' construction championship, he tried to hold off Max as best he could, right? Or hold off George as best he could, right? Like you don't treat him like I don't like that dynamic how they treat Charles. I think he deserves to be better, but I think I wonder how that dynamic will change when Lewis is on the team, because what I don't want it to be is another Valtteri or another Rosberg.
Where they just throw him under and then
Yeah,
Lewis
where
is
like
the
where
focus
yeah
and-
where he's the number one and like Rosberg fought a lot with Lewis. Obviously, same for Valtteri, fought a lot.
Yeah, because that was before Lewis was world champion, right?
No, Lewis I think had been a couple world champion when he was fighting with Rosberg,
Okay.
but he'd won I think the year prior, and Rosberg fought. I think it took Rosberg I think maybe 3 years, and he said it's the worst he's ever felt, and he's not doing it again. He's not doing
Yeah.
it again. So he said when he won that championship against Lewis, it felt great, and now he said, and now I'm done because you will not catch me doing that again. And Valtteri said the same thing. I just watched season 3, I think, or a different season where they were going over Valtteri and Lewis's relationship, and in Russia, Valtteri was in first place, right? Or was in a better place, right? And they forced him to move over, right? And Valtteri could have won in Russia, and they gave it to Lewis, right, for the points, for him to win the championship, the world championship, right?
Yeah.
2 years later, Valtteri knew, I either need to be I need to either be first place or third place. I need to be P1 or P3, right? So what he did was, he heard that he was in P2, right? And Lewis is in P1, right? But Max Verstappen was behind him. And so he gave Max a tow where Max was able to go super fast and split the two of them, right? At that same race, so it was Lewis, Max, Valtteri. And he knew, and mentally, everyone knew like Valtteri did it for himself because y'all fucked him over 2 years ago. He says, you know what? You're not winning in Russia this year. And at the same time, Lewis was trying to beat Mike Schumacher's 91th record of being 90 pole for 91 races or whatever, something like that. And Valtteri said it's not happening today. You could do it tomorrow at a different race, but it's not happening today. So it ended up being, and Lewis got a penalty for starting doing his practice start at the end of the pit lane instead of in the middle, in the beginning. And they were mad about that. And I was like, nah, he had to serve a 10-second penalty. And I thought that was deserved. I was like, because it was risky, and just because you, like, that was against the rules, and you don't, just because you're a world champion doesn't mean you're better than everybody. So I was okay with that. And Valtteri won. He was P1 as he deserved. And I said, yeah. And then I felt really bad looking at it. Like, I was like, Valtteri's a great second. I was like, but they called him like a wingman. Like a commentator said, "You're a great wingman to Lewis." And he was like, and he told the commentator, "Wingman hurts." And I was like, and I felt so bad for him. I was like, because he deserves so much better than to be Lewis's second, and that's hard. And like Lewis only won as many championships when Valtteri was on the team because of Valtteri, because he's such a great
support.
Right. Enough where like no one wants that. So I don't want that to happen
I don't think it'll happen
with Lewis, between Lewis and Charles. I hope
Charles is too competitive for that.
He
shit.
is.
He would beat himself up too much.
He is. Charles, like that time where like they told him like you and Sainz don't need to fight. And he said, "I don't give a fuck. We gonna race to see who's really gonna be."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's gonna be with Lewis.
And I hope that it is.
I think it's. I'm excited.
I hope Charles keeps that same energy because he deserves. Like, I'm also a person where like, if I'm doing better in this lap, there's no way I'm letting you pass I'm no way for P1 P2, absolutely not. It doesn't matter, like you having your drivers, especially if they're P1 P2, it doesn't matter who's P1 and P2. You're just doing it for the drivers championship, right? Not for the constructors, because it doesn't matter. You still get P1 and P2 points no matter who's in P1 and P2. So I think that's also where it's not fair, where it's like, if I'm doing better and I'm in P1, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to have to race me to the line.
It should be the drivers decide by just how they're driving.
Right. Which I think Lewis had done. Lewis and Valtteri did do it. Like, I think Valtteri was in second place. And Lewis, they asked him to switch to see if he could catch up to whoever was in P1, and Lewis couldn't do it, and so he gave the position back to Valtteri, which was good sportsmanship, but it's not always like that between them, obviously. They've had bad blood decently, but they've also grown to be okay. So, I don't know.
They're both older, too.
They are.
It's different.
I just wish we had better, like, I don't know. Like, the Alpines need to get it together. I don't think that's worth it.
Pisses me
It's
off
not
because
worth
I
it.
like both of them, which is so annoying.
I mean, they're okay. Not my fave.
They've gotten worse, and that's what
Really?
pisses me off. Not like worse in
they
driving,
have.
but their attitudes have gotten like
Together, yeah, because they can't like stand next to
Like,
each other. They won't do PR
Pierre,
together.
But like Pierre was chilling. Like for so long, he was actually doing decent. He's a decent driver. Like,
Mhm.
and then like Esteban is okay. He's always been kind of
On low tier.
yeah. But I mean, it's like, now they're even worse because they just fucking can't get it together.
But I don't think that's what I'm saying. I think that's petty. Like you see George, like the underdog boys,
It's because they're French.
Alex Albon, George Russell, and Lando Norris.
They're all homies.
And they came up. We all carded together, and you don't see them mean off. Like, you see them go out and hang out together. You see them fly in together. You see them on the same plane. You see that they keep it cordial and they keep it a good fight between, we're friends off the
Some
off
people
the track.
can't do that.
Right, we're friends off the track, but we don't take beef from karting days. Okay, baby, karting days. That was when you were like, what, 11? You are now in your mid-20s. Get over it.
They just haven't grown up.
And that's okay, because Alpine will be at the bottom of the grid.
Yeah, it sucks
maybe if
because
they're on the
I'm
grid.
French, so it's like I want French to do decent, but whatever. Okay, it's 28 minutes.
Yeah. Basically, we had a lot to say.
Yeah, I was like, there's a dead moment here, so let's stop it before it gets to like 5 years.
We have our opinions. It's only 2 races, so we don't have too much of opinions on how this season
It'll
is.
be better when next season starts.
Yes, we're looking forward to. We'll keep you updated on this season.
Yeah.
We'll probably won't do another update until
Lando gets a P1.
I hope so.
Please give Lando
that boy needs
his
a P1.
I feel bad for him.
I do. I'm like praying to the Lords that Lando gets a P1 because he deserves it so bad. And then he got. Did they give him a penalty for his false start?
No.
Okay, good.
No, they didn't give him
He
a
didn't deserve
penalty
that.
because it wasn't a false start.
Okay. Well, we don't have much to say about Formula One. It wasn't too exciting.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Well,
didn't have
it
much.
wasn't. Well, I feel like what we talked about was more like past, not current present. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's not much to talk presently. We just hope to see some teams do better. We're hoping that we're more excited for next year. We're hoping that maybe a little bit more in the season when people are changing or renewing their contracts, maybe there'll be a little bit more drama and more spice on the track. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated if we have more things. We'll do another episode if it's something interesting. We probably will do an episode after Barcelona, because I will be in the Barcelona, and if I have any footage, we'll obviously might put that in. I am planning to film and take my camera with me, so.
Are you going to make a little vlog?
I might. I haven't used my camera yet, so we'll see. We'll talk about that in the next episode, I guess. But
okay.
That's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching or listening. And we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See y'all.
See ya. Love you. Bye.